Hi, Karoline. It's Stephanie and Adrian from the How to Be a Redhead podcast. Welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you guys.
We are so excited to have you on. You're from Norway. You live in Norway currently. So we have to ask, and a question we like to ask all of our redheaded guests. What was it like for you growing up with red hair in Norway?
Yeah, I think Norway, it's not super uncommon to have red hair, but it's not really common either. So I knew a couple of other kids that had red hair, but we were all teased having it, and I never felt pretty when I was a kid because I had freckles and red hair, and I felt different and all of that. But I always got so many compliments from adults saying like that I have beautiful hair. They like came up to my mom in the store and like complimented me, and I never really understood until I was a bit older and I realized that wow, I'm actually really lucky to have this unique hair color. And I think now it's the thing that I'm the most happy about that I was born with. So yeah, they were right
Yeah, I
to
love
think
I
that
love
it
that.
was.
that. That we want all redheads to feel that good about themselves. And I think it's hard because when you're young, everything seems to be so dramatic and, teasing seems like the end of the world. But then when you're older and you love it, it just seems like, okay, I shouldn't have been sweating the small stuff when I was so little. But I have the same story too. I feel like I grew into myself and now I'm so happy to be a redhead.
Yeah, I think it's a very common story because you just want to be like everyone else, and even the things that are good about you,
Yeah.
you don't like because it's not average. And then you
Right.
realize later that it's like one of your best things.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
you age, I think you realize, wow, being unique and different is something to embrace rather than to hide.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And probably okay, the number one question people ask you, we have to get into this with your career and everything, but ask you on TikTok probably is how are you considered plus size? We read your European size 36, 38. So we looked that up. US, that means 4 to 6. Can you explain to our listeners what the modeling industry considers plus size? Because to be honest, when Adrian and I saw that, we were like, first off, we've the word plus size, that term, we just we don't really love it. We think that brands can use a different term, but 4 to 6 in the US is so different than in Norway. So walk us through how that compares to the US being in Norway.
Yeah, this is a question I get the most. You're right. And it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
understandable because you see me, which is, I'm just like a normal slim person, and you think, what the hell, is she plus size? Then what am I? This comment I
Right.
get a lot, but
Mm.
so it's understandable. But also, have you seen models like they're severely underweight, and that is the standard, being extremely skinny. So
Mm.
anything that's above that in modeling is gonna be considered plus size. So the norm is just like shifted like 5, 10 sizes down.
Wow. Okay, so I understand
Wow.
what you're saying. Like a model who's like a 00 compared to a model that's a 4 to 6. There is
Yeah.
That's how they label it.
Yeah, and it's like when people say if you're plus size, then I'm whale size. It's not really true because it's in modeling. It's your size 0. That's straight size, and anything
Okay.
that's above that is just everything is just labeled plus size.
Okay. Okay. So it's
Wow. Well, I was wondering what the pressure is like, Steph. Like I was wondering like what the pressure feels like when you first get into modeling. Like I'm trying to think of myself as like a young kid. Like you're young and then you become this model, and you feel such extreme pressure to be thin and to be that industry standard. Is that what a lot of models go through?
Yeah, yeah, it is, and I think it's like one of the most unhealthy things that you could do when you're young.
Mm.
Yeah. To be honest, I would never want my child to be a model. To be honest, because everything you learn is that your looks is what you are, and that is what your
Okay.
value is, and nothing else matters basically. And if you're not pretty anymore, then you're nothing. This is like what we learned, that
mm,
all our values are like external and not internal. So
Yeah.
there's like a saying with models that they are the most insecure people in the world, and I like very believe that. So
Mm.
like I didn't maybe realize when I was 15 and I got into it, but now that I'm quite old, I look back and I'm like, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It must be really hard because, like I said, when you're younger, you don't process things the way that you do when you're older. And I can just imagine going from school to modeling and just feeling like you're not worth anything if you don't level up to what everyone else is doing. I just
Mm.
feel like that has to be on some level so unhealthy. And
Mm.
I admire people who can like come out on the other side like you and be so strong and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
people don't as well. Like almost every model who is like a straight size, so that's like very skinny, uh, suffer with an eating disorder. And everyone says that I'm naturally skinny, but they're not, because it's not natural to be this skinny. Like I've been in mall
Yeah.
apartments, we all starve, you know. So
Wow.
I don't think a lot of the people then struggle the rest of their lives with it. Like if you see the like statistics of people who suffer from anorexia, not many get healthy. So they either like live with it or something really bad happens. Like this is one of the mental illnesses with like the highest death rate. And yeah, I
Really?
know a lot of sad stories. And for like modeling, so like the size for a straight size model is supposed to be 86 to 88 centimeters around the hips, and this is how they measure a model. And
Still, they still do this.
yeah, they still do it, and
Mm.
it's so small. It's like these models fit into children's clothing because it's so small, and it's just
Wow.
it's so strange to me that this is the beauty ideal, because shouldn't it be like beauty, shouldn't it be kind of what is fertile, and how is a grown woman who's 86 around the hips supposed to have children? Like it's not, I don't think it's possible even. So it's just like
Yeah.
it's just a messed up standard.
When did you wake up to all of this? When was it? Like, were you just following along with how everything was in the beginning and then you woke up and was like, wait, what am I doing? Or when did you finally realize, like, oh, I don't like the way that this is? When did you realize that and spoke and decided to talk about it?
Yeah, I think like I started when I was 15 and I was still kind of a child and I didn't understand. And then I moved to New York and just strange things happened. And then I moved to Tokyo to model there. And I came into the agency and I had gained like maybe 2 kilos because I was going from a child at 15 to like 17.
Yeah.
And then they treated me so badly for it. They like weighed me twice a day. They sent me to like trainers twice a day and like asked me to not eat this, not to eat this, not to like gave me this crazy diet regime. And they even like measured my fingers and like shaming me for having fat fingers. And then when I went back from Tokyo, I was just like, this is so insane. This is so
Yeah.
like I
This
don't
Yeah.
isn't
respect.
normal.
Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
normal. Yeah.
No.
It's not normal, it's not healthy, and like who are they to like talk to me like this? So then I went back to Norway and I was just like, I need a break from this insanity.
Wow.
Yeah. So are you currently
Wow.
modeling?
Yeah, I am, but I'm a
Yeah.
plus size, or like the industry is like trying to call it curvy, so like the agency is called curvy,
Okay.
but when I'm at work they usually call it plus size.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. And we saw a viral video about modeling padding that blew up and exposed a modeling industry secret. So, for listeners who haven't seen the video, can you explain what padding is, why it's used, and why
What
you
is it?
decided to talk about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pieces of foam which is used underneath the clothes to like fill out. So it's kind of like those chicken cutlets if you ever used those when you were like
Mm-hmm.
14.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
for the whole body,
Oh.
and we use it. I like when I worked in the US, they gave a bag of this to me and told me that it's polite to bring it to work when I do plus size modeling. And we use it because like plus size models are usually like me, like slim. And if you work for a plus size brand, the smallest size they have is usually too big for me. So therefore they have to fill it out.
So padding, so essentially what it is you put it all over your body underneath clothes when you're doing a shoot.
Yeah,
Okay.
or if like your hips are smaller than your upper body, they can only put it on the hip. So it's like different. But
Okay.
they use it because they want to use models that are too thin for their clothes because slimmer models sell more than bigger models. So
Right.
I just worked for a
Wow.
plus size brand and like we talked about this and I asked them like why aren't you using bigger models and they were like we tried but they don't sell so we had to reshoot the whole thing with slimmer models and then they either use padding or not every brand does it but some do it and then they just pin everything in the back so I'm wearing these clothes that are twice the size of me and then they just pin it with like these big clips behind
Okay.
instead.
Oh my.
Okay. And the padding is kind of put there to kind of, you look thin, but like curvy. So they kind of just want you to have like curves in like the right places.
Yeah, and also then you have a
Yeah.
slim face and your body is big enough to put.
Right. And your arms are thin and like your face is thin, but you have like really, it's like a sexualized thing too, I'm sure, to make it sell.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Yeah.
mean you can say that it's messed up, but also like, are we the ones who's buying it? So I mean, a
The
brand
consumer.
are gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we have to think about it. Like, do we do this? Do we want to buy from this model instead of this
Right.
model and not critique the brand? Like, I also think it's very strange to do, but if they don't do it and it doesn't, like, if it doesn't sell, then they're gonna go out of business, and then someone who uses it are gonna sell instead. So, like, I feel like everyone has like a, what is it called?
Hmm.
I'd like a say in this.
Wow, that is, yeah, the modeling world is crazy. Really,
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And the fact that
Yeah.
it's
I
still
just can't
going
believe it.
on to this day with, you know,
How
you hope,
progressive the world has got.
yeah, you hope just with everything with body inclusivity and accepting everyone, especially here in the States, you just hear more, you know, inclusivity is becoming so over the last several years. And obviously, mental health is something that more and more people are talking about nowadays, especially with social media, which is a blessing because you hope that it saved a lot of people with being okay with going to see a therapist or talking about it with someone if they are going through something. But then you have this completely kind of like the modeling world is like separate from all of this, what's
Hmm.
happening, what we think is like getting better. It almost seems like, do you think anything will change in the future?
Um, It's a hard question. I don't. I thought it would change like 5 years ago when it started to become
Yeah.
more inclusive and popular and everything,
Yeah.
but it's just gotten back basically to what it was. And then I just think it's human nature to be like this
Mm.
because I don't feel like unrealistic beauty standards has always been there.
I
And
was actually wondering, and I don't know if this is something that's even appropriate to talk about, but you know, I feel like we were on such a good path to accepting people for their size. And I don't know why. I just felt like the world was like vibing with all different sizes for a while. And then now everyone's getting into talking about Ozempic. I don't know about you guys, but I hear about Ozempic like every day from someone. Someone's
You
either
do?
taking
Oh,
it or someone's lost a lot of weight from it. Oprah just did that big special talking about
yeah.
Ozempic and losing weight. And now I feel like people are back on the skinny train. So when you were just talking about everything, I was like, I'm wondering if now society is like what you said, like maybe it is just human nature to desire being skinny.
yeah, I was just thinking about Ozempic myself, and I also hear about it all the time, and I think it's so scary. It's such a scary
Hmm.
thing because it's not just people who struggle with obesity that takes it. It's like it's skinny people who take it to become even more skinny, and it's just like I was talking about external values. Like this is is this how it's going to be, like more and more external values? What about like real things? What about like education and getting humanity to a better place? Is like when I was a kid, I thought about 2024 being like flying cars, and what do we have? We have people dancing
Yeah.
on TikTok.
Yeah. I know,
It's
it's
like,
so true.
Such a
Oh
real
my God.
statement and so true.
So true. Yeah. 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 And
It's
then
so true.
now it's
We can do better.
yeah, exactly. We can.
Redheads, have you heard?
We aired on ABC's Shark Tank, episode 14, season 15. We are busy developing products and continuing to grow this incredible redhead lifestyle brand.
Check out our mascara and eyebrow products in red hot shades, hair care, merch, lifestyle items, and so much more. Redheads, we can now rejoice.
Finally, there are products for us.
Use code podcast to get 15% off your next purchase. Shop at shop.howtobearedhead.com. So on TikTok, you said whenever you see a video or picture of someone looking perfect, and this is just what we were talking about, remember that it's good light angle and they also have all the things you're insecure about, but you just don't see it. Even though you're a model, Karoline, and you know all the secrets about posing and lighting and angles, do you ever fall into comparing yourself to others on social media?
yeah, of course. I think we all do, and I think it's so hard not to do it. And you know, I think it's like it's a natural and healthy thing to do. But we used to do it with the people in our village, and we used to do it with like real people. Now we compare ourselves to the best version of the best people online. And I
I
like
know.
I
the
know,
way
it's
that
so
I'm like
tough.
trying to cope with it is just like trying to look rational at it. Like whenever I feel bad, I try to sit down and be like, why am I feeling bad? Okay, I saw this and this, and like, is it rational? Do I think it's real? Is my life that bad compared? And then I just like try to kill it with rationality and be like, no, actually I'm pretty good. And yes, theoretically everything could be better, but if you have a good life like I have, then you should just be happy about it and not always think about the better thing, the better thing, the better. Because even those,
Yeah.
I think you're kind of set to a certain amount of happiness level in your life. And I say it because I have friends who have done it, like things that almost no one has, like been in Hollywood movies and all of that, but they're still not happier than me. So why am I comparing
Right.
myself to that? Like I could also in a different world be in a Hollywood movie, but I wouldn't be happier, probably.
Right.
So I
Right.
just
No,
try
that's such a good point. And at the end, when you're older too, like let's just say, you're in your 80s, whatever, you're going to be so happy that you lived all those years happy rather than worrying about being thin for this particular shoe or a project or whatever it may be. I think you're absolutely right. Your level of happiness matched to others is really the most important thing, is just to be happy. And I think sometimes too, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that no matter how much money you have, you can't spend that to live longer. Like I now realize that people who are healthy, and I was just reading an article about a woman in British Vogue yesterday about how she's 90 and her life lessons. And I was like, that's true wealth. Is she's happy. She wakes up every day. She travels 300 times a year and she's like living her best life, and she's 90 years old. And she just wanted to be happy her whole life. And I was like, oh wow, that's true richness, rather than like having money in the bank. Like she might have that too, but I was just like, wow, that's true wealth, is living to your 90, and you're just like every day waking up traveling and so happy. And I'm like, wow, not everyone gets to do that because their priorities are different throughout their life. So I totally agree with everything you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, whenever I'm on social media and it makes me feel bad, I'm like going out in the world doing real stuff, being with real people, like not spending all my dopamine reserves on like 3-second stupid videos.
Yeah.
So this is something that
Right.
I've thought about so much lately. Like fruit tastes really nice if you haven't eaten candy, and then you can enjoy an orange. But if you stuff yourself with candy all the time, you just get desensitized. And this is what we're doing with social media. And I think it's really scary, and especially like people that grow up now. I'm worried about this. Like, because
I
you're
know.
making kids drug addicts, basically. They can't focus anymore. They're just like, have you seen children's shows now? It's all so rapid because they can't, like, their dopamine is fucked up. They can't focus on anything unless it goes so fast. And this is like something I've thought about a lot, that I want to reserve like my brain capacity on enjoying things by like living a
Yeah.
Yeah.
slow,
Yeah.
more
It's totally,
natural life.
social media can be so, it's, it has its ups, it has its pros and cons, you know, with like, yes, connecting with friends and family and like for our sake, our followers and on a business standpoint. But then when you talk about young children who's maybe they're on social media scrolling when they should just probably be outside, like ripping
Yeah.
up dirt and getting like their hands dirty and just like seeing sunshine. Or you have parents that are just exposing their children and sharing so much about like their everyday when it's not healthy.
And it's also teaching them to exactly what you said, Caroline, to just move to the next thing so quickly, like not enjoy your present moment because you're so used to getting that dopamine. So
Mm.
you're watching something and then you want to do something else, and you want to do something else because that's how like fast the world has become with just scrolling and everything. Like you just want that instant gratification. That's why we're all addicted to our phones and addicted to
Mhm.
Amazon, because we want things really fast. Like we want things really fast. And at some point, I think true, like the best mental health you can be in is when you are enjoying the moment. And any way, right? I'm sure we've all been in meditations, and it's hard to sit there
Oh yeah.
and be
Yeah.
present in the moment. It's like the hardest thing that a human can do, from like going from social media, everything's so fast, and then you're just sitting there with no dopamine, just like
Yeah.
thinking about your
In your
thoughts. It's really
thoughts.
hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
What I'm curious, Caroline, what inspired you to come out with your story and want to share it?
I just got such a better life after I recovered, and I guess I just wanted to tell people that like you can recover and still be happy. Like I just felt like I had seen the light and wanted to tell other people like you can do the
Yeah.
same. I guess
Yeah.
I
because
think
one
I
of
think that's amazing.
yeah, one of the really hard things about, like, because I had anorexia, if you see my TikTok, you probably know, but one of the things with this disease is that you don't want to get healthy. So this is why it's so hard to help people with this disease. But I think for me, I just realized when I got older and wiser that this is a extremely stupid thing to do with myself, and that life is so
Yeah.
much better.
So do you
And if I
find Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I just gonna say that if I could help like just some people with this, then I think it's worth telling. And I'm not ashamed for having a mental illness, or I had it. I don't think it's a bad thing, and therefore I'm not scared of talking about it.
Yeah, nor should you. Yeah, and I'm curious, is it with having an eating disorder, is it something that you still battle throughout your life currently, or is that in the past and you've, in terms of, you know, once you have an eating disorder, does it come back or is it gone for you personally? And I'm sure everyone's case is so different.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say that if you once had an eating disorder, you're going to live with it for the rest of your life. But that's actually not the case with me. I don't have it at all. I almost don't remember how it was having it, because it's
Wow.
so.
Wow.
Um, this is also a thing, when you're that sick, you don't really form memories. So I don't remember much from that time even.
Maybe that's
Wow.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
maybe it's
right.
good
Sometimes I think
actually.
memory is no, yeah.
And
Yeah.
did
Wow.
the eating disorder came with the modeling, or was it modeling first, eating disorder, or eating disorder modeling?
Yeah, I actually had it before I started modeling. That's probably
Okay.
why I got scouted, which is kind of a strange, messed up thing. But I did get it, I think, because I was bullied so much when I was a child. And that was also like because I had red hair and I looked different, freckles and all that thing. It's
Mm.
just like uh, became too much for me, and that was the way I handled it. But then I became a model and everything, and then I had to stay skinny for modeling.
So it like
And then I
heightened it
just
and made it worse.
yeah, sure, because then you're forced thinking about it every day.
Right. Well, I think your story is so inspiring, for anyone who's going through hard times. It might not be an eating disorder, but we're all going through hard times. And I think you never know what someone's going through. And that's why, sometimes it's so easy to judge others, but you just don't know what they're going through. So I think just sharing your story has really inspired me, that not everyone is perfect. And, Caroline, I've seen some of your photos on social. Stephanie and I were on your page prepping for this interview. And I mean, that's how crazy social media is, that as you're scrolling through, you're like, this girl has a perfect life. I mean, she's in Norway, beautiful. Like, she's modeling, beautiful, right? Like, you just think like, oh, wow, like it couldn't get better. And then you don't realize that people are going through hard times. And then, now you have the wisdom that you can share with us. And I'm really inspired by it.
Yeah, isn't it funny that everyone thinks like this about everyone else, and we're all
My
just
gosh.
freaking ourselves? Like, this is crazy to me that someone would look at me and be like, "You have the perfect life," because I don't. I have all the struggles as everyone else, but I also do the same. Like, look at people and be like, "Oh, they're so much better. They're so much happier." So this is why I'm trying to think that if you're genuinely pleased with your life, then you have won, and you should just be grateful for that, and not always
Yeah.
want more and more and more, because it's just like we call it air castle. I don't know what you call it in English, but it's not real.
Yeah. It's just like a fake world.
There's a movie I just watched it the other day. Oh, it's called Perfect Days.
Oh.
And I don't know if anyone has heard of it, but if you want to watch something, I was really inspired by it. It's called Perfect Days. It's a Japanese film. And it's about this guy, and he's supposed to be the happiest man in the world. That's just like the premise of it, that he's happy, but he cleans toilets throughout Japan, throughout Tokyo. And that's what his job is. And for a lot of people who are watching it, they might think that he has this low class job, but he's so happy. And they show him every day his routine. He wakes up, he has his, he shaves, he has a little breakfast, goes downstairs. He takes a moment every day to walk outside, and he lives in like just like a, not a nice neighborhood, not a bad neighborhood, just whatever. He goes outside and he looks up at the trees every day in the sunshine, and he observes what that day is. He gets his coffee, he drives to work. He always loves to play a tape, like an old school tape. And they show his course throughout the day and just how happy he is, where most people who had this job would be miserable and depressed. He is so happy every day, just so happy. And it goes in and out of different storylines that you see, and you would, they show like his sister came in and talked about how abusive his dad was, and still he remains happy. And it was really an eye-opening movie for me. So if anyone listening, Karoline, Steph, anyone,
Yeah.
it's a really good movie.
Yeah,
It
I'll have
really
to watch
inspired
it.
me a lot. Yeah, it was really, really good. So we wanted to talk, Caroline, about how you met Lindsay Lohan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, give us the details.
Tell us.
Yeah, this was a beautiful day, like 10 years ago or something like this. I just moved to New York, and I went to the trap of going to clubs way too often. And I was in one of New York's clubs, and then she was on the table beside me, and one of her friends came up to me and was like, "Lindsay Lohan wants to talk to you." And I was like, "Oh, really? Me?" Okay. And I went over to her, and we just like small talked a bit. And then she said uh, that my hair color was really beautiful, and that she had the same, but she had colored bleached it, and that it was so
Okay.
horrible, so ugly, and that I should never do it, never color your hair.
Wow.
And I was like, it was funny that she said it, because obviously I'd seen pictures of her blonde hair, so I knew, but she
Yeah.
was telling me like I didn't know.
But now
And,
she's
Wow.
back to red now.
Oh, good, much better.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
later that night, I saw her like dancing with a girl, and then I left the club, and then I saw the day after on the news that she had gotten into a fight with this girl, and that the police came and everything. So it's still, I can find like the exact date that it was, because I could just Google the time she went on a fight.
When she got a fight.
When she got into the fight. Yeah. No, they're calling it the Lohanessance now,
Yeah.
because she's like back and better than
reborn.
ever. That's what
Yeah.
they say. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been such a fan, so this was it was a big moment for me. I had even a crush on her a bit then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all grew up like really
Loving her.
loving her. Yeah.
Yeah,
And now
because we could see
they're doing
ourselves in
Freaky Friday. Yeah, right, because she's a redhead. They're doing
her.
Did you watch Freaky Friday? Was that a popular
Yes,
movie? Yeah. They're
of
coming out with
course, of
Freaky
course.
Friday too.
Oh my God, with her.
Yeah, with her.
Okay. Oh, this we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So we want to ask too, we about your makeup and skincare routine. So,
Mm.
of course, we're assuming being a model, you've tried a bunch of products, you've had your makeup and hair done and skin, maybe it's gone through different, just with having a lot of makeup on, and maybe you've experienced certain breakouts or whatever the case may be from being a model. But to start, what's your everyday makeup look?
Well, I don't wear makeup every day, but when I do, I just try to make the makeup fit with my complexions. Is that what you call
Mm.
it? Like the
Yeah.
colors. So I just
Mhm.
recently saw the term strawberry makeup, and I realized that this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's like I use a lot of like blush and brown and orange and like things that fits with, because I've tried like the standard blonde girl makeup and it doesn't look nice on me. Like black and gray doesn't look nice on me. So I just try
Mhm.
to make
Right.
it.
Right, right. We were talking about this before we recorded, but you're getting into color analysis. And so it did confirm, though, that you're an autumn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which I always kind of knew because people had told me.
Yeah.
But now I'm
I
just.
know so many redheads are shocked.
Yeah, when they
Oh,
find
really?
out what I think it's either you go in and you're like, "Oh, I'm, this," and then that's correct, or you find out that you're completely opposite and you're just in shocked at all these years you may have been wearing not so much the wrong color, the color that doesn't complement you the best. So,
Mm.
because at the end of the day, wear what makes you feel pretty, right? And good. Like if blue's your favorite color, it could be something too where looking into color analysis, if blue is your favorite color, maybe it's more cobalt blue and not like a deep, deep blue. Maybe that is what makes your features enhanced. But yeah, it is fascinating. That is something that I learned from social media is color analysis because it was
Yes.
trending
No,
on.
see, it's good for something.
Yeah.
Have you
And
all done this color analysis?
who does?
Have you guys done it?
Oh,
No, but we're gonna have someone on our podcast who's gonna do it for us,
Oh,
and
really?
so we're
Okay.
excited for that.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
we're
wonder if
excited.
like every redhead basically has the same, or if it's different for us too.
I think it's different because we were
yeah.
sharing on our page that some people are spring and some are summer. It
Hmm.
really depends on their complexion. And I think how deep or light their hair is. I think it has to do
Yeah.
with that too. Um, I have a question actually, Caroline, that I was thinking about. When you're growing up in Norway, how is fair skin perceived in the culture? Is it embraced or is it a tan culture like in America?
Oh, it's in America, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, like almost everyone in Norway is born with like mousy gray hair. This is like the common thing, and then so many color it
Hmm.
blonde, and almost everyone is
Oh,
pale, but they all do self tan and like tanning beds.
really?
Tanning
Oh.
Oh,
beds
wow.
still.
That's
I mean,
so interesting.
America people are still doing tanning beds too.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine with the skin cancer, but hey, to each his own.
I know. I know. Now, speaking of skincare, you never really post about your skincare routine. Can you tell us some secrets? Because your skin is absolutely beautiful.
It's
Oh,
flawless.
oh, it's not, but thanks. I'm wearing makeup now. I have the same problems as everyone else, but it usually looks good on photos because I use a good foundation and everything. But yeah, I think that skincare is like one of the most boring things. But I have Googled and researched because I want to have nice skin when I'm old. So what I use like the regular things like glycolic acid, salicylic acid. I'm doing
Mhm.
retinol now. I started a year ago, and it's such a
You
pain in the
did.
ass. It's like it's my worst moment of the day is washing my face, but I push through and I still do it, and then I
I
use a lot
know.
of sunscreen. So this is what I believe is gonna help me in the future. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
So
know,
even though it's snowing, because you told us it's snowing today in Norway,
which is
yeah.
you
crazy.
still put sunscreen on?
Yeah, I actually still do because I think
I think that's amazing.
with the snow it reflects so much. So I think it's almost more important when it's snowing.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Yep.
I know.
That's a
And
good, that's a good habit.
it is. And so we wanted to ask, what's next for you? What are you working on?
Yeah, I'm doing my master's now. You just said that master's is not the same in America, but it's what is it called in America again?
Well, undergrad
Yeah.
is your major, and
College.
then after you get
After
your
you graduate
after you
at 4
graduate
years.
college, then you can get your master's if you choose to.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the system is very different in Norway, but yeah, I'm studying studying chemistry, and after I'm finished with this,
Wow.
I'm gonna do my PhD, I think, in chemistry. And I'm still modeling, even though I'm getting quite old. I'm still doing the jobs I can do. So I'm gonna go to London soon and model a bit
Wow.
there now that I have the chance. And yeah, I'm just gonna, before I get too old, I'm just gonna be drunk and have fun, I think.
Yeah. And so what's old in the modeling world? What is
I
that?
know.
When I started, when I was 15, they told me that you'll be retired when you're 23. But it has changed. So now it's basically as long as you look young. That's the rule, I think.
So
Okay.
23 is considered old. That is so
Yeah,
insane.
Wow.
that's strange. And now I'm 27, so I'm overdue.
Okay, so then
Wow. No,
then
you're
we're
not. You're not.
elderly.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I guess we
Right?
all plus elderly in the modeling
Yeah, we're
industry.
all plus size and we're all elderly.
Wow. Wow. Well, Karoline, thank you so much for joining us from Norway and for all of your insights. As much as Stephanie and I love having conversations about beauty and all
Mm.
of that stuff, we know how important it is to have these conversations about beauty standards. And I think that you have done such a great job sharing your voice on social media. And so just keep doing that because you've inspired us today and everyone who's listening. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you.